All right, next up, we've got Western Michigan and Bowling Green also on Tuesday night. Bowling Green, 8.5-point home favorites, 58.5 being the total in this game. Last week for Western Michigan, their defense just got absolutely abused by Northern Illinois, 42-28. It was actually a split for me in that game where I was on the Western Michigan side, which was obviously the wrong side, but I also had the over in that game, and it flew way over the total. But they were carved up by Northern Illinois, especially on the ground. I mean, it was just Telly Johnson going nuts with 141 rushing yards for Northern Illinois in that game, and it took a lot of pressure off of Ethan Hampton. Hampton in for Northern Illinois. When he's got a run game like that, makes him a better quarterback, and we certainly saw that. He only had 3 incomplete passes. Hayden Wolf had a decent game. The one thing that got him in trouble, though, was interceptions. And the one thing about Hayden Wolf is he's facing another very good defense here, Connor Mack. And so, Northern Illinois does have one of the better defenses in the MAC. And he's facing another team, Bowling Green, that's got a very good defense. So I worry about those mistakes again. We saw it against a good MAC defense last week from Hayden Wolf, the mistakes, the interceptions. I worry that maybe we're going to see it here as well against Bowling Green. I mean, I do lean to Bowling Green. I like this team. I've liked them from the beginning. I've still got a live plus price ticket on them to win the conference this year. I liked everything about him. Scott Leffler's done a great job as the head coach, a very experienced group of 5 quarterback, and Connor Bazelak, who's been around the block, started his career at Missouri, of course, years ago. Lot to like about Bowling Green. And yeah, they had a couple of blips there where they didn't play great. They lost to Old Dominion as big favorites. They lose at home to Northern Illinois. But in that game, they lost Bazelak to injury. The backup came in, and he couldn't even get a first down in the second half of that loss to Northern Illinois. But since they got Bazelak back, they beat up Kent State. They win by 15 on the road at Toledo. That was very impressive. Going on the road and beating Toledo 41-26. Last week, they didn't cover, but again, every MAC game, and we warned you about this last week when Connor and I did this show, that there was going to be a lot of wind and potential rain in those MAC games. And so you've got to take those results with a grain of salt. They were still clearly the better team over Central Michigan last week. I worry about that Western Michigan defense. I really do. We have seen against some better competition, they have struggled. They gave up 42 to Ball State, 41 to Buffalo, and then 42 last week to Northern Illinois, all in conference play. And this offense is as good as any in the MAC with Bowling Green now, what they're going to face here. So I like this over. I cashed an over with Western Michigan last week. I'm going to come back to the well. I think Bowling Green does a number on this defense, and they score into the 30s, maybe even into the 40s at home. But I think Western Michigan's offense with Wolf, if he can somehow limit turnovers, I think they can do enough to move the ball. And Western Michigan is certainly superior on offense compared to their defense. So I think this game can go over the total. I don't trust the Western Michigan defense enough to take them, and I'm very high on Bowling Green, as you know. So I'd lean to laying the points here. I might have a smaller bet on that, but the over is what I like even more here. Connor Mack, what do you think here? Western Michigan BG.
Yeah, this one's tough for me. The one problem was that's why I wanted to back him, but maybe it was just ready for turnovers because that's how good Wolf had been. That's why I really wanted. I thought they'd be in that game, and I knew the defense was great, but I wasn't really afraid of this Northern Illinois offense. This game was close, there was the interceptions, there was the kickoff return. It was 14-14. I think it was 21-21, 20-21, and then they kind of
got away from
right
second
in the
half.
third.
Yep.
Yeah, and late in the third quarter, it kind of got away from with those mistakes. So one thing here with Western, I think they'll have success running the ball. And they did again. They averaged 209, like we talk about. Bowling Green's defense pretty good, but they haven't been great against the run. Pretty average there. So, but overall, Bowling Green the better team. But this is another one. Bowling Green laying points. Over a touchdown. I'm not very interested here. This is 6.5. This is a different story. But yeah, I have to be off here. I don't know if I can go back to Western Michigan. They've been all right on the road, and one thing I hate is that just how bad the defense. That means the offense has to score. That means mistakes have to be at a minimum. I don't know if I want to go back to the well on that again.
Yeah, I definitely like the over more than I am going to have Bowling Green in pocket. Maybe their team total instead as well, but definitely like this over because I think Western Michigan can chip in as well. And I don't know if they're stopping Bowling Green. The one thing, as Connor mentioned, though, Western Michigan can run the ball decently, and that is the weaker part of the defense for Bowling Green, is against the run. So we'll see if they can capitalize on that. All right.